Hey guys, Leighton from the future here. I literally just finished filming this video and then realized, duh, I didn't talk about this thing that I wanted to talk about, so I'm just sticking it in the front before the video actually starts. So what I wanted to talk about really quickly is my uploading schedule, because I'm back now. I'm gonna be making videos, which I'm gonna talk about in this video, but I've decided not to do a weekly upload schedule anymore. I'm done trying to please the YouTube algorithm or trying to grow my audience or whatever. I want to do this for fun, you know. I want this to be a thing that I'm doing for me and, you know, to interact with you guys, but not for growth or a platform or anything else. I just want this to be for fun and I want to enjoy this. So the upload schedule is whenever the hell I damn well please. So that could mean you get a few videos in a week, or it means you get no videos for a week or maybe a couple of weeks. Hopefully that's not the case, but you know, I just want to do this for fun. So that's all I wanted to say is this is going to be a for fun channel from now on. I'm not going to burden myself with trying to come up with a video to make every week and to make sure I have it filmed and edited and uploaded on time and whatever, you know. This is just going to be fun. This is a new era for this channel. But that's all I wanted to say, so on to the video. Hey there everybody, welcome back to my channel. So right off the bat, let's just address the elephant in the room. I disappeared again. I think what we all need to do is just come to terms with the fact that this is just probably gonna be an annual thing. I'm just gonna take an end of the year hiatus like every year. That seems to be the theme. Though I will say, like, in all honesty, in all seriousness, I did not mean to be gone for this long, but a lot of stuff ended up happening that just kind of snowball affected into me not making this video until right now. So before we get into the topic of today's video, I just kind of wanted to talk about like why I left in the first place and then why I stayed gone for so long. So why I left for two reasons that kind of also like merge into one reason. The big overarching reason was mental health, pretty much. This time of year just like is never very good for me mental health wise, even though it's like the most wonderful time of the year. My brain's like, no. My brain be like, no serotonin for you, ma'am. I mean, I'm sure it's something that like all of you can probably relate to, just the lack of sunlight, and you know, it's cold, so you're trapped inside, and we've already been trapped inside anyway because of COVID and everything, so just generally not a good time. But also then like drifting into that other reason that I took a break was because I just wasn't feeling very motivated to make videos, and you can kind of see how those two things are related, because obviously if my mental health's not great, then my motivation to make videos isn't going to be great. But also it was sort of a separate thing, because it was like if I had ideas or like the motivation to do it, then I would have pushed through and kept making videos, but just, you know, it all just kind of dogpiled on to the point where I was like, and I guess you could maybe call it a little bit of burnout. And it wasn't just burnout, because we all know. We all know that I wasn't making a ton of videos. I wasn't like stressing myself out making content for this channel. But I was also, you know, I know, you know, books, that's my main thing. I've been trying to write my books and stuff. And then also I started a gaming channel with my friends, which I would not shut up about in the past few vlogs, so I apologize for that. I was just really excited about it, you know. I just wanted to keep talking about it because, you know, it was something exciting and new and shiny. And we're still doing it, and it's still fun. There's been some technical difficulties lately that we're trying to work through, because we're trying to do face cam now. We weren't doing face cam before. Now we are. You don't need to know about this stuff. I have a bad habit of going off on tangents, so we're just gonna reel that in. The point that I was just trying to make is that that on top of everything else, that new channel, it did give me a little bit of burnout, because I was editing the YouTube videos for that channel. Like we stream on Twitch, and then I edit down the streams and put them on YouTube, and that just put a lot of extra stuff on my plate, and it took away time that I would have had for this channel, and now I've worked out a better balance. But yeah, that's why I left. But why I stayed gone was that 2021 was like, you thought I was gonna be better than 2020? Hold my beer. Though, I mean, technically it did kind of start in 2020. I meant to come back like mid-December of 2020. Like, I was ready. I had video ideas, I had things I wanted to update you guys on, but then stuff kept happening. But the biggest stuff that happened actually happened starting New Year's Eve. So my grandma ended up getting rushed to the hospital because it turned out she had a heart attack and didn't know it, and then they did some tests on her that showed that she had had a heart attack, and they were like, oh shit, get her to the hospital. And she ended up having to get a stent put in one of her arteries because she had a 99% blockage, and it was very scary, very horrible. That happened on New Year's Eve. And it was just a bummer because my mom and I were planning on getting together and bringing in 2021 with like high hopes and good vibes, and then that happened instead, and it sucked. Luckily, I have really amazing friends. Gabby, she was just kind of getting together with one of her friends via Discord face chat, so she invited me to join them. So I wasn't alone on New Year's Eve, thankfully, because it was very scary. You know, we didn't know what was going to happen with my grandma, so that sucked. And then after she got the stent put in, she got to come home, but then she had to go right back to the hospital because she was having like negative side effects to the medicine they had her on for the stent, so they had to switch the medicine and stuff. And now she's doing great, except for the fact that both she and my mom, who my mom had to like stay with her during all of this in the hospital, my mom and my grandma now have COVID because they were put on the COVID floor in like the COVID ward of the hospital because that was the only space they had left for my grandma. And so now they both have COVID. But my grandma so far, knock on wood, has not had any symptoms. So I'm just praying she's asymptomatic, or maybe it was a false positive test. I don't know. Either one would be great. I just hope she just stays not having symptoms because she's older, you know, she's in the higher risk category, and I'm very close with my grandma. She was one of the people who really like raised me. She babysat me when both my parents were at work, and so, you know, I spent a majority of every day in my childhood with her, so I really care about her, and I'm really upset that it's happening. And then my mom actually does have symptoms. She is symptomatic, but so far, again, knock on wood, it's not horrible symptoms. I mean, obviously it sucks for her. She feels like garbage, but she's not anywhere close to, you know, going to the hospital for anything. So that's at least good. But, you know, all this stuff just kept happening and happening and happening. And I was like, I want to come back to YouTube, but I was stressy and messy, and it was not a good time. But now things have kind of calmed down. They still have, you know, they're still dealing with the COVID stuff. But now that I know that there's no, hopefully, immediate danger, I felt good enough to be able to come back and make this video. But yeah, so that's why I left and why I stayed gone. Just so you know, like, I wasn't being a lazy sack of shit. I actually had shit happening in my life. But now I'm back. So with all that said, let's move on to the actual topic of today's video, which is my writing. This is a writing vlog. We're going to talk about what I've been up to writing-wise while I've been gone. So I'm gonna be real with y'all, I don't actually know what I last updated you guys on in my last writing vlog. I wasn't about to go back and rewatch it, so I'm just gonna tell you what I've been up to, and then if there is anything in that vlog that I don't address in this video that you were wanting to know about, please feel free to ask me about it in the comments. I mean, I don't know if anybody really cares that much to do that, but if you do, hey, thanks for caring, and yeah, comments. So, what I've been up to. First things first, I definitely know that I told you guys about submitting to Pitch Wars. I know I did because that was like the title of the video. My update on that is a short update, and that is that I did not get in, unfortunately, and I will admit, that is also another reason why I kind of stopped making videos. That is kind of what contributed to my negative mental health. And it wasn't being, like, rejected or whatever, because y'all know I deal with that constantly with my writing. That sounds depressing. Okay, hold on, let me rephrase that. I'm a big girl who can handle rejection when it comes to writing. I've gone through it before and I can deal with it. There we go. That makes me sound competent. That's the phrasing we're gonna go with. However, I was, you know, on top of the fact that already my mental health wasn't doing great, then that just kind of led to me feeling more like, not a failure exactly, but I felt a little ashamed for failing, I guess is the best way to put it. Because I had previously already failed at querying my book that I call Codename Cute Gay Rom-Com Novel. I had failed at that, and I put that in quotes because I I queried it. So I didn't technically fail, I just did not succeed in getting an agent from the querying. But you know, when you're putting all of this online for people to see, even though I want to show the good, the bad, the ugly about this kind of stuff, because I feel like it's important to not just show the good and nothing else, because then that gives people unrealistic expectations of how this is all supposed to go. It still feels kind of shitty, you know, to constantly have to come on here and update you guys and say, I didn't succeed at this, I didn't get what I wanted out of this. And so when I submitted to Pitch Wars and then I didn't get in, I was just like, great, another thing I didn't succeed at, and I was like, bleh. But I mean, that wouldn't have kept me down for too long, I don't think. I was just in my feelings, but then everything else, again, snowballed into big hiatus. And it also didn't help that, so I've submitted to Pitch Wars 3 times now. The first time was with the Caspian Chronicles, which for those of you who have been around, you probably know about the Caspian Chronicles. That was like what I started this channel writing, and I submitted that to Pitch Wars and I didn't get any requests at all, and then I didn't get in, obviously. Then the second time I submitted Cute Gay Rom-Com Novel, and I actually got a full request from a mentor. So even though I didn't get into Pitch Wars that time, I felt really good because it was like, oh wow, I really leveled up. I actually got a full request from a mentor this time. That means my writing's getting better. Then this third time I submitted what I'm calling Clone Novel. Again, that's not the title of the book, that is a code name. And this time I did not get a full request. I did get a partial request, but I got a partial and then I never got anything else. And even though it's technically probably not the case, to me it felt like a step backwards, or maybe like a half step backwards. You know, I didn't go full backwards where I didn't get any requests, but also it was only a partial. They only wanted the first 50 pages and then they weren't interested past that, and you know, you start to think negative things about yourself and your writing and stuff, which I know I shouldn't have done. I'm trying to get better at that, but it did affect me. So that was part of why I felt negatively. I have since then, though, pulled myself up by my bootstraps, which is actually a saying that I hate. I scooped my little melted puddle off the floor and I formed myself back up into a human being. We'll say it that way. So then I pulled myself together and I ended up doing another revision pass just on my own of Clone Novel, based on feedback that I had gotten back from my friends Lexi and Gabby, and then my mom. They all read my book and gave me feedback, so I did a revision pass based on their feedback. And now I have currently just submitted my book to Author Mentor Match. It's going well. I'm really excited about it. Actually, okay, so I'm not at all trying to shit on Pitch Wars. I think Pitch Wars is great. But I will say the submission process for Author Mentor Match I had a much more positive experience with. And I think there's a few things from Author Mentor Match that Pitch Wars could learn. You know, they could take a page out of AMM's book, so to speak, that I really like. The thing about Pitch Wars is that the mentor profiles, how they work is it's a blog hop. So each mentor writes their own blog post that goes up on their own website where they talk about what things they're looking to mentor, what things they're not looking to mentor, their mentoring style, blah, blah, blah. And that's all the same kind of stuff that gets covered in Author Mentor Match as well. You know, you kind of find out the same types of things. But I definitely prefer Author Mentor Match because with Pitch Wars, these blog posts are, you know, on these people's websites, and there's no rhyme or reason to them. Like there's very obviously things that they're supposed to talk about, but they kind of just jump all over the place as it suits them, like as it suits each individual mentor. So it's kind of difficult. Like I like to make a spreadsheet of all of the mentors so that I can really like compare them, what they're looking for, who I think would be best suited to work with me and stuff, who I would want to work with, and who I think would want to work with me, and who would want my book and stuff. And in gathering the information for my spreadsheet for Pitch Wars was so difficult. It kind of sucked, to be honest. And a lot of them in their blog posts use GIFs and stuff, and a lot of them this year did provide a separate, you could go to a separate place and read their wish list without all the GIFs and colors and whatever else. That was a thing that they provided. But just generally, you know, I don't love the layout of that. I really like Author Mentor Match because what they do is on one page they have all of the mentors listed. They have like middle grade, and then they have profile pictures of the mentor, and it also says what genres they're looking to mentor, which is amazing. So it says middle grade, and then it has those profiles, and then young adult, and it has those profiles, and adult, and it has those profiles. And I love that they, right there on the first page, say what genres they're looking to mentor, because for Pitch Wars, sometimes the mentors really bury the lead and they talk about like, oh, this is who I am, and this is my mentoring style, and then you have to scroll like halfway down the post or further to figure out what genres they're looking to mentor. So you, like, no offense, but kind of waste some time reading through this blog post just to find out that they're not even mentoring your genre. So like, you know, what's the point of reading their blog post if they're not even somebody who you could submit to or would want to submit to? Whereas in Author Mentor Match, it's like right there. So you know, like, okay, these are the people who I should be focusing on, whose profiles I should read further. So then from there, you're able to click on the profile picture, and that takes you to a longer profile. And it's amazing. I love it because it has individual tabs for each section. So instead of like scrolling through just one big post, what you're able to do is you're able to select, like, there's a tab for their bio, so you get to know more about them. Overview, which is like a general idea of what they're looking to mentor. And then there's a tab for their mentoring style, what they're looking for in an ideal mentee. And then there's a tab for their wish list / anti-wish list of what they're looking to mentor / what they're not looking to mentor. And then there's like a tab for their favorites. So like favorite pieces of media, movies, books, TV shows, music, anything that maybe, you know, they love. And so if you comped one of those things for your book, then maybe they'd be more interested in it, whatever. So I just love that it's the individual tabs. It just makes it so easy to find the information that you are looking for, and they're still able to fill out each individual tab however they want. So some of them talked a lot in each tab, some of them just kind of did bullet pointed stuff. It was all up to them how they filled it out, but at least like you knew what information you were getting in each tab and you didn't have to scroll through a whole post. And it definitely made it so much easier not only to fill out my spreadsheet. It made the spreadsheet so easy. It was so amazing. But also, when I kind of was trying to narrow down which mentors I was going to submit to, because you can only submit to 4, both in Pitch Wars and in Author Mentor Match. You only get 4 mentors or mentor pairs. So when I was trying to narrow it down, I was able to just look at specific tabs instead of, you know, scrolling through a blog post that could have some information over here and some information over here and whatever. It was just like, okay, I want to look at their mentoring style again to see if it would mesh with what I'm looking for. Go to that exact tab. Oh, I'm looking to see what they're looking to mentor, or like what things they definitely don't want to mentor. Go to the manuscript wish list / anti-wish list tab. Like, it was so easy. It was so accessible. I loved it. So, I mean, and again, not shitting on Pitch Wars, but I think they could maybe implement something like that on their website. I just think it would be very helpful. I really enjoyed the layout for that, for Author Mentor Match. And then also, I really liked the actual submission process of Author Mentor Match, because in Pitch Wars, what you send in is just like query letter synopsis. I think first 5 pages, I think, is what it is for Pitch Wars. And then, like, that's it. And then the mentors can request partials and fulls from you. But in Author Mentor Match, it's kind of a 2-step process, which might sound more complex, but I preferred it because the first step was filling out a questionnaire about what are other projects that you're working on, you know? Because if the mentor wants to work with you for future projects, they want to see what you're working on, if they're gonna mesh with not only this project but future projects. They ask you what your publishing goals are, you know, like big 5, smaller presses, traditional publishing or self-publishing or hybrid. And it kind of just gets a feel of like what you know about the publishing industry and like what you don't know, and there's like no wrong answers. It's literally just so that the mentors can get to know you better and get to know like what things they're going to need to work with you on you know, if they choose to mentor you. So I liked that. And then I also liked the second step in the submission process was you send what is pretty much like a query package. You send in an email. In the body of the email is a query letter, and then you attach the 1-page synopsis and the first 50 pages of your book, which I really like. I like knowing that the mentors have like my 50 pages because I just think it makes more sense, you know, because then they can choose how much they want to read. They can read like the first few pages to get an idea, and then if they know it's not for them, then they can just put it aside. But if they're really liking it, then they can read more without having to request more. They can just, you know, keep going, and then if they love those 50 pages, then they request a full, which I really like. I don't know. I just generally, the process of author mentor match, I really enjoy a little bit more than pitch wars. Again, no shade. No shade. But I think they do some things right that I feel like needs to be praised, or that you guys should know about in case you ever consider submitting to either of them or both of them. You know, just kind of know what's up. The one thing though I will say that in favor of pitch wars as opposed to author mentor match is that in pitch wars, when the mentors want more material from you, they contact you individually, like from their own private emails. They say, hey, I'd like your partial, please send it over, or I'd like your full, please send it over, and you know who has your partials or fulls and like how many mentors have it. In author mentor match, and this is just me being a whiny bitch, but like in author mentor match, it's just the mod team, and they and I know this because I actually got a full request and it means the world to me, but they email you and they're like, the mentors would like to read more of your book, please send over the full. But it's like they don't say which mentors, they don't say how many. It could be one, it could be multiple. I have no idea who's reading my book and how many people are reading my book, how many people are seriously considering me. I have no idea, and it's slightly stress-inducing. Again, I'm just being a big bitch baby, but like, that's the one thing that I'm like, oh, I wish I knew that. I'm the kind of person who likes to know things and feel like I have at least some control over it, but this just feels like I threw my book baby out into the wild, and I don't know who's reading it or like what they're thinking about it, and it's quite stressful, but not in a bad way. It's kind of like that fun stress of like, maybe like you auditioned for a play or something and now you're just waiting to see the cast list or something. It's kind of that exciting, fun feeling, but also, I kind of wish I knew. So yeah, that was my, maybe a little bit too long of a rant about that kind of stuff, but whatever. You know, I have a lot to update you guys on. You can watch, you can skip around. I'll put in timestamps and whatever so you can skip around if you want, but yeah, that was my submission experience with author mentor match. So that's out there right now, and I will keep you guys updated on if I get in or not. Obviously, I mean, if I get in, I'm gonna be shouting it from the rooftops, and if I don't, I will be in my feelings for a little bit, and then I will move on. You know, I won't let it get me down like the pitch wars thing did. So then the final thing that I've been working on during this little hiatus is I've returned to working on, so my code name for it used to be definitely not Cachadora fanfic novel, which is a stupid code name, but it was kind of funny. It's kind of funny, but it's pretty stupid because it definitely was Cachadora fanfic, which for those of you who don't know, Cachadora is Catra and Adora from She-Ra. It's their ship name, and the book idea basically started out as fan fiction. It was kind of like a modern alternate universe fan fiction idea that I came up with, but then I was like, oh, if I change some names, this could totally like just be original fiction. Like, it does not have to be fan fiction. So I did that. I changed the names, and yeah, I mean, it's still pretty much fan fiction, but it's a lot of fun to write. And what happened with it originally, I started writing it for, I think, like a summer NaNoWriMo. Like, it was one of the summer camp NaNoWriMos, but I was doing it as like a regular 50,000 words in a month type of thing. And what happened was I got to the all is lost beat, and then I realized I wanted to add in the second point of view. Like, I was only doing the like Adora character's point of view, and I wanted the Catra character's point of view. So I went back and I added in the second point of view, but then I got stuck at the all is lost beat again. And so very obviously there was something not working there, so I decided to set it aside for a while to kind of think on what wasn't working. So then at that time I was waiting for the feedback from my friends and my mom on clone novels so that I could do maybe a revision pass before submitting to Pitch Wars, which didn't happen. But so then I was kind of working on a couple of other projects. I had like an urban fantasy idea that I was kind of fiddling with, and then a contemporary fantasy idea that was based on I get sleep hallucinations, which is like sleep paralysis but without the paralysis part. It was a book based on that, and I kind of started and fiddled with those ideas, but I don't know, like I think I just needed to sit on those a little bit more too. So I was fiddling around with those though, and then I didn't get the feedback from my readers in time to do a revision pass of clone novel, so I just kind of submitted to Pitch Wars, and then I got my feedback from them, so I was like, okay, I'll just take their feedback, and then if I get into Pitch Wars, take the mentor's feedback and do a big revision pass. So like during that time and during the submission time, I was just fiddling with a few different ideas that never really got too far. And then I didn't get into Pitch Wars, and then I got sad. And then I scooped myself off the ground, and then I did my revision pass on Cloned by myself, and then I submitted to Author Mentor Match. And so since then I picked up the Catradora like fanfic. We're gonna call it Foster Girls from now on, because that's like, it's two girls who were like in the same foster home as kids. So we're just gonna call it FosterGirlsNovel from now on. That'll be its new code name, because I'm not saying definitely not Catradora fanfic novel every time I want to talk about this book. It's just not happening. We're changing that. So FosterGirlsNovel. I picked that back up kind of like while I was preparing to submit to Author Mentor Match. But then now that I have submitted, I've really dived into it. And what I'm doing is I figured out what was wrong with it that was getting me caught at that one point each time. I think the stakes weren't high enough, so I had to add in an extra little plot point to raise the stakes. And so now I'm rewriting the book, but not like totally. Like I'm doing that thing where I put up the original document on one side of the screen, and then I pull up a blank document on the other, and I like copy it over by typing it. I don't copy paste. I like to type it, because then that just helps me see more opportunities for rephrasing things and whatever. And like when I'm adding in new stuff, instead of trying to cram it into something that already exists, I can kind of make it flow a little bit better. So that's what I'm doing. I'm like incorporating that tiny little extra subplot thing. Plus it's a good refresher, since I haven't worked on the book in a while. It's a good refresher of everything. So then when I get to the All Is Lost beat, where I broke off both times, I can push it through to the end. I want to finish this book, and then maybe go through and that ending part that I add on, maybe do a little revision pass of it to make sure the whole thing is like copacetic. And then I'm going to send that off to my readers for them to read. So that's what I'm kind of working on right now, is that book, while I wait to hear back about if I get into Author Mentor Match or not. So yeah, that is what I have currently been working on, all of that, and I'm at 44 minutes of recording right now. I'm gonna have to cut this down so much. I kind of hate myself, but also, what are you gonna do? You know, I've been gone for so long, I got a lot to catch you guys up on. Okay, so now, and we're gonna make this fast, we're gonna speed this up. Let's look toward the future. What am I planning on doing moving forward? So, obviously, big thing is I want to, sometime this year, be querying clone novel. And I mean, the timeline of that really depends on if I get into Author Mentor Match or not, and you know, what revisions my mentor might want me to make or not. But if I don't get into Author Mentor Match, I'm gonna do one final revision pass myself, because that's all I can do. I've gotten to the point where I can't do more to my book. You know, I've hit my personal stopping point. Like, I either need somebody to tell me what to do, or I just gotta kind of go for it. So if I don't get into Author Mentor Match, and I don't have anybody telling me that these are the things that I need to fix in my book, then I'm just gonna do my own final revision pass, add in a few extra things that I've kind of thought about since finishing my last revision pass, and then I'm gonna start querying. And even if I do get a mentor, like I kind of wrote down, I want to be querying ASAP. You know, obviously I want to do it right. You know, I don't want to just rush through it to be querying as soon as possible. But I don't want to like take forever on revisions because I'm tired of spinning my wheels and not getting anywhere. Like, I'm ready to take that next step and get an agent. So, you know, if it's not going to happen with this book, then I need to already be having another book out there and ready to query. So, like, I'm trying to speed up the process a little bit because, you know, I need to get things moving for myself. The other thing I concretely know I want to get done, I already talked about, is I want to send FosterGirlsNovel to my readers so that they can go over it, and then hopefully I can, you know, start revising that, and then that'll be ready to query if things fall through with clone novel. So that's that. Those are the things I know for sure I want to do. And then the rest is kind of up in the air a little bit, you know, just kind of depending on how this year goes. One thing I know for sure I want to experiment with is writing middle grade, which is something that I've had like one singular idea for a middle grade for a while. It was a middle grade mystery series that I've been wanting to write, but you know, I haven't been focusing on that because middle grade's not really like my area of expertise, and you know, I really wanted to focus more on young adult, but lately I've been coming up with a lot of middle grade ideas. So I just kind of want to experiment with it. I want to read a little bit more middle grade to kind of get an idea of how that kind of thing works, and then I want to try writing some. I have a contemporary middle grade idea about like summer softball based on my own experience of being in a summer softball league when I was younger. I have that middle grade mystery series that I talked about, and then also I have the Caspian Chronicles, which for those of you who know, like, you're gonna be like, that's a that's a young adult book. That's a young adult series that you've had. But I'm kind of starting to think it would work better as a middle grade. Because, hear me out, when I have previously pitched the Caspian Chronicles, like I actually got to pitch it to a real life literary agent once when I was in college, my comp titles were Harry Potter and Percy Jackson, which, first of all, those are horrible comp titles for the sake of, like, you want something a little bit more current, and also you don't want to compare yourself to Harry Potter. That's just not a good look. But, like, those were my comp titles, but I said, like, it's Harry Potter and Percy Jackson for, like, young adults. And it's like, if both of your comp titles are middle grades, maybe, just throwing it out there, your book is middle grade. I know, a concept, wild, but yeah, so I'm just kind of starting to think maybe it would work better as a middle grade, and obviously I'd have to rework a few things to make it middle grade appropriate. I mean, there's nothing too dark or edgy about it in the first place. You know, I wasn't like full edgelord Leighton when I was planning it out as a young adult series or anything, but there are some things that I'd have to tone down a little bit, you know, to make it middle grade appropriate. So I'm just kind of playing around with that idea right now, and I figure maybe I can kind of just experiment with it. I think that would be the best first middle grade to try writing, just because I know that story inside and out like the back of my hand. I know those characters, like I know everything about them and the story, so it might just be the best option for trying to write a middle grade. So I might experiment with that, but again, it's all kind of up in the air. We'll see what I'm in the mood to do and how much research I've been able to do by the time I'm ready to work on another project. And of course, that's only going to be happening once Cloned is being queried, like actively queried, and it's off my plate, and once I'm like not working on Foster Girls anymore. But then also, you know, if I'm not in the mood to experiment with middle grade at that point, what I want to do is I want to stop starting all of these new ideas and like finish one damn thing. Kind of like I'm doing with Foster Girls, where I went back to it and I'm finishing it rather than starting something new. I want to do that. I have a sci-fi book that I have a rough draft of. I just need to kind of rewrite it because some things weren't working with it, but like I should fix that, you know? I shouldn't move on to something new. I should fix that. Or the urban fantasy, or that book about that's like based on my sleep hallucinations. Like I should work on those, right? Because I already have them outlined and started, and you know, I mean, obviously I thought I needed to sit on them, so I'm gonna do that, but like I want to finish things rather than start new things. So that's kind of a goal for 2021, is like finish what you started, Leighton. And then also just a general goal that I want to try to work on is to spend more time brainstorming new things rather than just jumping into writing them right away. And I mean, I don't think I'm too bad at this, but also, like, I think I could have spent more time brainstorming both the urban fantasy and the book about my sleep hallucinations. Something that used to be like an integral part of my writing process used to be just writing random scenes, bits and pieces from these books to get to know the characters better, and, you know, just if there was a scene nagging at my mind that I had to get down on paper, I would do it. I would do like pen and paper in a notebook. Usually it was during class when I was bored, but like I miss that. I miss doing that. I think I need to get back into doing that, because like that I think really helped me to flesh out a lot of things about my stories before I actually actively sat down on my computer and tried writing them. So I'm gonna try to reincorporate that into my writing process. We'll see how that goes. Again, I'll keep you updated. And yeah, just generally I want to sit on ideas for a little bit longer. You know, it's easy to get excited about that shiny new idea and just like, oh, I want to start writing it. And I myself am horrible when it comes to self-control. I have like zero self-control. So that's something I struggle with, but I want to work on it. It's a goal. It's a 2021 New Year's resolution. Sure, let's call it that. But yeah, thankfully for all of us, that's all I had to talk about today. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. And finally, it's gonna feel so good to say this, I hope you have a beautiful day. Seriously, I do. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I will see you next time. Bye!